confirmed that it would disclose details of the offer in its prospectus to be released today on a fruitful day of 11th of October 2021. It's a beautiful Monday. The temperatures here are quite a cold weather situation, but we are waiting for this particular IPO conference, the launch of the IPO conference. That is the initial public offer by MTN. Now, Uganda's Capital Markets Authority Chief Executive, that was Mr. Keith Kalyengira, said that the IPO is expected to raise about 1.2 billion US dollars. That was of last week, and the intention to float announcement was a major step towards delivering on the plan to list on the Uganda Stock Exchange. Now, MTN Uganda's Charles Mbire told reporters those are some of the key highlights that did happen over last week. It was again at the same venue from Kampala Serena Hotel. Now, the widely anticipated stake sale of the leading telecom in Uganda will actually be restricted to citizens of the East African Community Trading Bloc, and the Ugandan regulators did say, as I've been actually telling you, we are live from the Kampala Serena Hotel during the IPO launch press conference, it being the 11th of October, and a number of key highlights are going to be highlighted. Reason being, last week MTN Uganda did join the publicly listed companies on the Uganda Stock Exchange market. Now, the IPO is expected to boost the number of retail investors at the Uganda Securities Exchange from about 40,000 to 200,000 investors in Uganda alone. And also to mention, the listing will make MTN Uganda the second publicly traded telecom in the East African community after Safaricom's IPO or the Nairobi Securities Exchange way back in 2008. And fast forward 2021, MTN Uganda was publicly listed on the Uganda Stock Exchange, and this will potentially be the largest IPO in the Ugandan market and will be delivered primarily through a digital paperless or green platform, which is the first of its kind in East Africa. That is according to a statement coming in from MTN Uganda. And if I told you just joining us wherever you are watching Smart Means Business at this particular moment, we are live from the Kampala Serena Hotel to give you more of what is happening from the IPO launch conference live here, as MTN Uganda is actually set to launch the IPO to the public. Today is the 11th of October, as the statements that were actually coming in last week on the 5th of October, when MTN promised to launch this particular IPO on this fruitful day as well. Now, the offer and the listing of MTN Uganda is in line with MTN Group's localization plans to drive local ownership in the markets within which MTN operates. That is according to what the firm said. And the MTN the Ugandan government set the listing of the telecoms on the local BIOS as one of its license renewal conditions that are going to allow local and foreign ownership of bigger companies with few and large shareholders to actually take part in the same activity. And speaking of which, MTN Group Limited of South Africa owns more than 90% of the company's shares, while a Ugandan businessman holds less than 5% of the shares in Uganda. And MTN Uganda, which has 15 million subscribers, has its operating license renewed for more 12 years in February last year. And just a quick reminder, MTN Uganda has actually spent over 23 years in the market here in Uganda, and it also did expand its stay in Uganda for more 12 years till hopefully 2031. And if you look at one that was renewed for 12 years in February last year, 2020, after paying $100 million with the local listing requirement as a precondition for the permit node. And MTN Uganda does anticipate that maybe by 2025, 90% of the Ugandan coverage Ugandans would have actually got internet access by 2025. And how is it going to be possible? It's looking at the opportunity for people to tap the digital market and make sure that they utilize e-commerce and tap the digital spaces. As one of the telecommunication giants in Uganda, and MTN Uganda is actually on the verge of saying that they have a one push program that is actually going to lead to digital solutions for Africa's progress. We've been actually highlighting on the idea that most of the businesses are turning to the digital space. Most of the people are actually turning to online marketing. And if you do understand the situation with with the internet and how fast internet speed has actually been happening in Uganda. MTN launched the 5G last year, so which actually gives it the room to see that it's actually championing these digital solutions and the digital progress solution in Africa as well. Now, MTN Uganda is actually, according to MTN Uganda, according to the director of Uganda Communication Commissions, one of the statements that did come in earlier last week was that they are delighted to witness the honoring of this commitment to MTN Uganda, and with the fact that MTN Uganda is actually going to stay in the market for the next 12 years or so, and maybe even after 12 years they will be expanding their stay in Uganda, and also not to mention the fact that they've actually been here for 23 years and they have a contract again to stay afloat in the market for the next 12 years to come. Now, MTN Uganda was granted 2 years of starting July 1st, 2020 to list 20% of its equity to the Ugandan Security Exchange. This IPO gives Ugandans an opportunity to own a piece of the company. That is according to the Uganda Stock Exchange Chief Executive Paul Bwiso in a statement he made on Tuesday when MTN was actually being publicly listed on the Uganda Stock Exchange market. Although relatively small, Uganda's telecom and data market is seen as potentially lucrative because of many of the country's 42 million people are still young, and it being the fact that 42 million are for the population, that is for the youth, you can actually agree that most of them are using the internet, and most of the young people having access to the smartphones, which shows that they are in much need of accessing internet. And MTN Uganda is actually saying they are willing to push these digital solutions across the continent, not only in Uganda, but maybe by 2025, like I did mention earlier, that they would be pushing it to maybe a 90% access throughout the country. Now, mobile penetration in Uganda grew from 0.27% way back in 1998 to 67% as of March 2021, underlining the sector's rapid growth. And if you are still joining us, we're live from the Kampala Serena Hotel, where MTN Uganda is actually going to launch its IPO. The IPO launch conference, and we are going to be giving you all the details from down live from the Kampala Serena Hotel. So just keep your eyes glued on Smart 24 TV, because we are definitely driving your business from all angles. We shall definitely be getting key highlights from some of the keynote speakers that are going to grace the same conference today as well, and later on we shall also be referring to the people out there as MTN Uganda actually launched is actually going to launch the IPO, that is the initial public offer to the public, and more is what is going to be happening from the conference. What I do understand is as of now, MTN Uganda has not yet released a public statement of what is actually going to be happening, but what we do know, or what we do understand at this particular moment, is that it's a conference launching the IPO, it being the 11th of October, and it was last week on the 5th of October when it was publicly listed on the Uganda Stock Exchange. And that is why when we do wait for 11th of October, it's a fine day, I would say, and we'll definitely be giving you all the key highlights. I was actually here highlighting one of the impact of what impact this has to Uganda's economy, and said MTN is set to open $1.2 billion of Uganda initial public offer to the investors, not only in Uganda but also to those in East Africa as well, as it will sell a fifth of its stake to Kenyan and other East African investors when it floats its initial public offer on the Kampala bourse. And this is actually going to be happening today, and just make sure you actually keep your eyes glued on the screen, as well as we're going to be giving you all the details live from the Kampala Serena Hotel. And one would actually ask for what is actually being expected here. You can actually buy a share from MTN Uganda with this particular offer as well. But more of the details are going to be coming your way in regards from the news hour, and as well as from all the angles live from the Kampala Serena Hotel. But just keep it locked on Smart 24 TV, and I'm yours truly, Joram Paul Sanka. I'm heading back to studios. I'm heading back to Andrew Barije as he actually continues to take you through. But for us, we continue.
Thank you so much, Sonko, right there with that update. Yes, MTN is launching a press conference after the initial public offering last week, whereby it floated 20% of its shares to the public. And Sonko has been on ground and has been really giving us some details Thank you so much, Sonko, for those details. Right about now, let's get into a short break and we shall be returning back with more stories.